The price of a replacement. I already have a lover, what I need is just the joy of being with you. I need someone to back me up. I am an ordinary employee in an ordinary company. I prefer sleeping to waking up early, I prefer playing to working, and I prefer rich to poor. But I'm not Cinderella. All my life I've been working to earn a little money, because the money is for my stomach, for my footsteps on the long and undulating road. I met you. He is not rich, but his family is well off, stable salary, and more powerful than me. You are the head of my department. He's not too beautiful, but he has an attractive way of communicating, not too open but not too arrogant. He knows how to treat people, at least that's how I see it. If you say that a prince is a girl's dream, then you are what we women are looking for. We have grown up, few are young, and there is no one who has not experienced the rigors of life. Time has brought people many new experiences, and also made people lower their standards of being human. If when I was a little kid, the age when I still hugged my mother's feet to tell fairy tales, I dreamed that I would transform into a Cinderella girl, helped by the fairy, put on a shimmering, beautiful dress, to hold the hand of the most handsome, perfect prince. Then growing up, the age when I don't hug love novels and hug warm Korean movies, I no longer dream of a warm, gentle, handsome prince. I will then like guys with personality, cold smile, deep eyes, especially he will be very handsome, big house and full of money. I will dream that I am an ordinary girl, imprinting my footprints on every corner of your heart and comforting your wounded soul. But those boys are few, but ordinary girls like me are too many. I don't say I'm good at life, but I say I've experienced more or less the ups and downs of life. Through a few love affairs, I gradually understand that life is not pink or bright pink. Life is just a color made up of many different colors mixed together. From then on I thought, the person I later marry doesn't need to be rich, just needs a good income, looks don't need to be beautiful, just needs to be good looking, personality doesn't need to be like a novel, just love me, and I love that person okay. Unfortunately, such standards are still too difficult. Like I said, my manager guy is the one who completely met my requirements. But I regret one thing, he is a pot that has already been arranged with flowers. I can't pick flowers and break pots. That's right. I just didn't expect that I met him in the most miserable state. I was played badly, stole the project to submit to you. At that time, I only knew anger and resentment in my heart because I had no evidence. The documents on the computer were erased by that guy. How much of my effort seems to have gone down the drain? I am not willing. Why? Is it because of a little bounty that one can steal other people's brains? Even if it's someone who meets every day in the company, in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon? I laugh. That day, my room celebrated because of my stolen project. I only know how to gather myself in the corner of the room, drink one glass after another. I feel like life is unfair. How can you treat me like this? My view of the world is becoming more and more negative. That night I was so drunk, I staggered out into the street in the cold windy night. I burst into tears. I thought, if I said that the project was mine, would everything be different? I knelt down by the roadside tree and vomited, the salty tears mixed with the sour taste in my throat, making me feel very sick. I vomited harder. After vomiting all the yellow bile, I stopped to gasp on the side of the road. I staggered to find my bookshelf, but where is my basket? I vaguely guessed that I had left my basket of books at the party place earlier. I staggered back to the restaurant just now. Suddenly, I tripped over a stone, and with the heat, I couldn't stand and fell forward. My hands and feet rubbed with my face, my skin was torn, but I didn't feel any pain. I lay there for a long time, tears flowed again. "Bye, are you okay?" A deep male voice rang in my ear, picking me up. I slowly rubbed my eyes, opened them, and saw a familiar face, but extremely strange. "Is this the head of the department? Why are you here?" I stretch out of his warm embrace. "I want to stand, be quiet, let me take you home." He carried me in his arms, every step he took was very light, very smooth. I just like that gradually fell into a long dream. When I woke up the next morning, my head hurt like a hammer. I slowly opened my eyes. The bright light made me unable to adapt. But what about the light? Why is my house always so bright? I opened my eyes wide. What a different house. This is not my house? I looked at the clothes I was wearing and breathed a sigh of relief. It was last night's outfit. I ruffled my hair thinking, what did I do last night, but got only newer headaches. I reached for the glass of white water on the nightstand and looked around the room. Suddenly, a fragrant smell came from the outside, making my stomach growl incessantly. I slowly got out of bed. I suddenly remembered something and threw the blanket off. The pure white bed sheet was slightly wrinkled, making me no longer worried at all. I tiptoed out of the bedroom, followed the scent of the food to the kitchen. I saw a strong back, slightly straight hair, the scent of the man overpowering the smell of food. I clutched the hem of my shirt, my heart pounding a few beats, my limbs frantic, not knowing where to put them. Is this man still unfamiliar? Chief, why you? I suddenly let out a scream. He suddenly turned to look at me and smiled. Yesterday, I was going to return my bag to you, but who knew that you were lying on the roadside, intending to take you back to someone before you went to sleep. I don't do anything to you. He hastily corrected. I know. I pretended to understand and then asked again. So when I come back, is your door locked? Well, stay for a while. He hesitated to say. Have breakfast and then I'll take you home. He suggested. What about your girlfriend? Was she jealous? Even though I said that, I pulled out a chair and sat down at the dining table, waiting for him. She has gone to Hanoi on business, and will not be back in a week. He put 2 plates of eggs on the table and handed her some sandwiches with a glass of milk. Oh. She nodded. Then I have a spare ticket to the theater tomorrow, but no one comes with me. Can you come with me? I'm so sorry. I beg you. That's okay. So where do you meet? He just swallowed a bite, asked me. Come pick me up tomorrow, then go together? I took a sip of milk and said. Okay, that's decided. After that, he took me home. I quickly showered and changed clothes for work. As soon as I ran down the door, I saw him standing there, leaning against the door of the car, lighting a cigarette. How can the gesture of smoking be so elegant? I lamented. I ran towards him, then wiped the sweat from my forehead and asked. Why are you still here? Let's go. He rubbed a cigarette and opened the door to get in the car. I looked dumbfounded but didn't say much, quickly got into the car. I'm not afraid. I was about to ask something but stopped. Anyway, it's people's private matter, I shouldn't interfere. Such a first step has already worked beyond expectations. Should not be made by the country. Employees are still temporary employees. He also didn't seem to notice my attitude, continued driving. The atmosphere in the car was strangely silent. I suddenly didn't want to talk, looking out the window. My heart stopped a little, dull pain in my heart. I turned my face inside, gritting my teeth to keep from crying. It's been 2 years, people no longer love me, why bother? When he was still some distance from the company, his car stopped at the side of the road. I understood the meaning and also opened the door and got out of the car, casually saying goodbye, but I did not expect that the words that came out would tremble as if I had just finished crying. I closed the car door silently, trudging to the company step by step. I look at the sky, at the surroundings, at the trees, at the leaves, at the clouds, at the rocks, in general, looking at all sorts of things. I smiled softly. That's right, there are so many good things around. Why should a person be heartbroken because of a bad person? Do you want some corn? I stood beside him chirping nonstop, then pointed to the food boards overhead. Up to you. He said softly. I suddenly felt unnatural. I wasn't natural with the way he was gentle with me. Before, although he did not loudly reproach the staff, he was never so gentle. Can I fantasize a little? Well then, come back and eat later. I suggest. Okay. So where do you want to eat? He asked, putting his arm around my shoulder. Um, how about you cook? I don't care much about the arm, also leaning slightly against his solid chest. It's okay, but I have to help. He tickled me gently. Okay, okay. I smile. Suddenly I felt strangely peaceful. Tui is at his house, and in fact, he is cooking rice, and I read novels in his shelf. Do you also read novels? I poked. Hers. He said hesitantly. I felt my mood plummet. Reading novels was like chewing gravel. But then I slowly calmed down. Although he and I have known each other for a long time, we have only really known him for 2 days. Is this feeling a bit fast? Or is? I've been lonely for so long that now I have a stake to cling to prove to my ex I'm still happy? I put down the novel and looked at him. What are we? What can we be? I raised my head and asked. I can give you what you want and vice versa. He calmly replied. So what do you need? What do I need? I asked bewilderedly. I have a lover, what I need is just the joy of being with you. I need someone to back me up. He spoke his mind. I laughed, leaning back. We will be substitutes for each other. But a replacement is forever a replacement. Do you understand? I laughed. Turns out he thought I was that person. But maybe I'm not that person? Okay, let's eat. I did not bring up that issue anymore, put the novel aside and walked over to the dining table. Although I was still smiling and talking, I felt the atmosphere was strangely gloomy. Then he took me home. I tiptoed to kiss him on the cheek and then ran into the house. I smile. Indeed, the next day he gave me what I needed, the position of deputy head of the department. Everyone looked at me with a different eye, contempt yes, idle yes, amazement also. I pursed my lips. Yes, this is my wish. I cleaned up the old desk and moved to a nicer and larger area. I smiled proudly at the person who stole my project. When I had just finished arranging the seats, he came out from the room and called me in to talk. Are you busy tonight? He smiled softly at me. Tonight? I'm busy with the boss. I burst out laughing. So where do I go? He stood up and stroked my soft hair. I leaned on him and said, it's up to you. That night, he and I went to the movies, but we bought the disc to watch. Maybe last time he was recognized by someone or saw an acquaintance. I didn't pay much attention because I didn't like crowded places. In the future, outside of the office, just call my name directly, no need to be so distant. Alright, Wei. I smiled sweetly. Bai and I were like that day by day. When his girlfriend returned to the country, he was with his lover wholeheartedly, and I was wholeheartedly devoted to the position of deputy head of the department. The time you and I are not together can be long or short, maybe a few months or even a few days. When we met again, he hugged me in his arms. I always asked him, hey, do you remember me? Miss you so much. But no matter how much he remembers, it is not equal to the memory he has for the person he loves. That is the taboo thing that you and I never say. But every time I force my mouth to speak. What about the person you love? I told you, a permanent replacement is a replacement. Next to you, I may be happy, but the real peace is only the person I love. The nostalgia for the one you love is limitless. At times like these, there was only silence between him and me. My heart felt like it was pricked by a needle, like someone's hand was suffocating. The pain was indescribable. But since when did my joking question become my fatal blow like this? I do not know. Hey, this deputy head of the department has a pursuer. While I was sitting at work, an employee in my room shouted loudly and pushed a bouquet of flowers into my hand. Which is yours? I smiled sweetly, my heart suddenly felt strangely warm. Is it you? It's the head of the design department. I felt like I was splashed with a bucket of cold water and then forced a smile to pick up the bouquet and smell it. Everyone in the room did not pay much attention to return to work. Bai hugged me when he came to my house, he said. Let's break up. Why? I turned around to look at him in panic. Did his lover know? I heard you have a stalker. You also think about yourself for a bit, find someone to love, next to me is only a disadvantage for you. Do you know that I love you, so you should say that? Thank you for always being by my side for the past 3 years. But can I ask you 2 questions? I bit my lip to stop the tears from falling. He nodded slightly. Why do you love her? Because she is stubborn, she is stupid, she is shallow, she is childish, his eyes are gentle. Then why choose me? She's cute, she tries her best at work, knows she's been taken for a project, but doesn't say it because she knows how to be patient, she knows what's good and what's bad, she knows how to stay in control. So you. I was about to continue, but he interrupted me. I can only answer you 2 questions, we will stop. He hugged me. That night I couldn't sleep, I didn't cry, but my heart hurt. I laugh. During the working day, I did not focus on doing wrong so much that he also noticed. He sighed softly. I'm going to rest. Yes. I don't go home right away, I walk around the street. I remember the words he told me yesterday. Because he doesn't love me, he only likes my good points. It is because he loves her that no matter what she is, he will love her. I shouldn't have decided to take this wrong path in the first place. I call you. Can I see you one last time? Where? Coffee Hub. Okay. I hung up the phone and went to the cafe to wait for him. I hung up the phone, I wanted to be quiet to think about what had happened, I wanted to know what else I needed from you. 17 hours. 18 hours. 19 o'clock. 20 hours. 21 o'clock, I got up to pay for my drink. Why don't you come? He was never late for an appointment with me. I rushed to his house in panic, my heart trembled, I was afraid that he was in trouble. Standing across from my brother's house, gasping for breath, my eyes searched for him everywhere. Then I suddenly burst out laughing. Then I cried again. I fell to my knees on the street and sobbed. Last time maybe he came and hugged me. But this time it probably won't be possible. He is with her,